Welcome back to Unpopular Opinion. As promised, I told you guys I had something special for you guys, an interview lined up. A good friend of mine, he's been on the show for a while. He's the host of Mornings with Mike. He's the host of the Just for Clicks podcast. He's 1/3 of the RTF Sports Talk show that we do now moving Monday through Friday. He's also part of the Big Blue Breakdown podcast. Michel Buccheister, welcome to the show. I appreciate you for doing it.
Hey man, thanks for definitely having me. And I might be only 1/3 of the RTF, but I am 3/4 of the personality on that show.
Is that right? Oh, shots fired already, huh?
Well, that's why. That is why I'm here.
Oh yeah. Good morning, Mike.
How you doing, OG?
Pretty well.
Good.
So let's kick this thing off. I know we did RTF this morning, and me and you both picked the Chargers. Me, you, and Matthew Lyle all picked the Chargers to win that game. But what is some things that the Baltimore Ravens need to do in order to win that game? You know, in order to get over the juggernaut of what is the Chargers. I don't think many people are giving them chances.
If you look at the ESPN, I believe it's a 50-50 game. If I'm not being mistaken there, but the only way the Ravens really have a chance is keeping that Chargers offense off of the field. They need to keep pounding the ball. They need to let Lamar Jackson do what he does, and that's not throw the ball. So that's the only way they even have a chance is just to keep that powerful offense off of the field, and then let that defense hopefully hold the Chargers to only 3 scores instead of their average 5 or 6.
You got a question for him, OG?
Oh yeah. So you guys are going into the playoffs once again. You guys have home field advantage. And I was just wondering, what would be some keys against an opponent like the Chargers if you guys were to play them?
So my team as in the Kansas City Chiefs.
You just wanted to throw that out there, huh, Mike? Yeah.
So how the Chiefs are going to beat the Chargers if we do play them is simply do what Kansas City does, and like that is just outscore the other team. Our defense our defense sucks. It is the worst. It is worse. It is the worst in the league. It's the worst I've ever seen as a Kansas City fan of my 30+ years of life here. So if the defense can just stop them once or twice and our offense just keeps doing what we do, we can't be stopped. I mean, nobody's going to stop us. Not the Chargers, not the Patriots, not the Colts, not the Ravens. It doesn't matter.
And I agree. You guys do have a high-powered offense, but your defense is just horrendous.
It's horrible. Yeah.
I like. Is Eric Berry back yet? I believe he is.
Yeah, he is. This will be his third or fourth week back, but he is on a quote unquote time count.
Okay.
So like he has only been playing like a quarter here, two quarters there. But I think since it is the playoffs, and he should be 100% by now, I would assume. So I kind of assume that time count is off, and Eric Berry can become the leader and the great player that he is for this team, and hopefully give us just enough defensive coverage to make it to the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, Mike, I know we've kind of talked about this here and there on RTF Sports Talk, but this is another game. This one is probably more lopsided than the one I just gave you, but I don't know if anybody is really picking Clemson to win this national championship game. What's your case for Clemson? If you're Dabo Swinney, and you in there right before you take the field, what are you giving? What are you telling your players? What must they do in order to take down the juggernaut? What is Alabama?
They must hit Tua. They must hit him early, often, and hard. Just because the professionals is a protecting quarterback and like you can get fined, I will take 15 yards if you shove your helmet into Tua's chest and punish him on the ground. Because that's the only way I really think that Clemson will have a chance is just to consistently put pressure on the quarterback and make him think twice about rolling out of the pocket. And then say if Tua happens to get knocked out of the game, Hurt going to have to think of the same things. Like, man, I've been seeing Tua. Man, he's been getting hit every 3 or 4 plays here. I don't know, like if I really want to scramble either. So punishment of the quarterback is the key to the game.
Yeah, my defensive coordinator back in our head coach as well, offensive coordinator when I was in high school, they used to always tell us that. I don't mind you going to go get that penalty, but when you get it, make sure he know that you're there every single time. And yes, and we will live with it. Yeah, we will live with it. You know, so I definitely agree. You have to hit Tua. OG said that yesterday when we did the show. He said you gotta hit Tua. You got to hit him, because you if you just sit there and let him think everything is good, he could just sit there and dance in the pocket and showboat and do his little namaste, whatever, however you say it, whatever. It's going to be a long night for Clemson. So I think, to your point, they have to get after Tua early. They have to get to him often. And when they get there, they got to let him know we are here. So I definitely agree with that point.
Question for you, Mike.
And one second before we go to the next question here. I don't think it's healthy. I don't think his ankle is 100%. If you listen to that interview after the what bowl did they play in? The Orange Bowl? He said he said well, I don't know if my ankle is really fully healthy. So that tells me he is not healthy at all. Yes, maybe this other week off may have gotten him 80%, but once you start to get hit, you throw a couple interceptions, that ankle starts hurting a little bit more.
Yeah, and to your point about the ankle, they said the surgery that he had, it really wasn't to make the ankle better or the ankle heal faster. What the surgery was for was to give him just a little bit more stability. So yeah, he's definitely still feel those hits every time he bounces and every time he plants. He feels that ankle for sure. So I definitely think that's a good point that Clemson can get after the quarterback, and they will. Christian Wilkins and Cleveland Farrell, those boys will be, and Huggins. They're going to bring the pressure. Brent Venables is going to bring the pressure. So he's going to see a blitz early. He's going to see it often. So good point about the ankle. You got one, OG?
Oh, yeah. Question for Mike. Mike, so this week, Chicago Bears host the Philadelphia Eagles. Who do you have in this game?
So, like I said on RTS Sports Talk, I've been going back and forth on this all week for the last 2 weeks or so, just like so. There was a point that I had the Bears going to the Super Bowl, and then I'm like, man, the Eagles are flying high. They're going to go into Soldier Field and punish those Bears. But I got to go with the Bears. It is just something that their season has, this season has kind of been like one of those storybook seasons. I mean, this is a team that was very few people, except for myself, that picked them to
shameless plug.
Hey, when you're right, you are right, man. You got to ride the coattails, right?
I feel you for sure.
But the Bears are going to win this game, but it is going to be ugly. It is going to be 12-6, 12-9 type of game. I'm not for sure what the weather is supposed to be. I haven't really looked, but playing at Soldier Field in the cold and the wind and maybe the rain even, it's nasty for any team.
It's nasty.
So it's nasty.
And that's the thing I was trying to tell Billy and trying to explain to Billy, because he didn't believe me when I said all we need to do is hold them to under 10 points at Soldier Field.
Yeah.
If we do that, we win the game. And we're going to do that. Not everyone can play in that winning code.
Yeah, but if a team could, it'll be the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Why? They are hurt.
Well, no. Well, playing in cold weather, that doesn't favor any team really, because both teams play in cold weather conditions. It gets cold in Philly too. Yeah, I definitely agree. People have told me that Chicago win at Soldier Field is definitely not a sight that you really want to be there for.
The wind cuts through your body like a knife, man. I can stand in a negative 20-degree weather with 0 wind and be okay. But the minute that it could be 25 degrees outside, and a 20, 30 mile per hour wind, that is cutting through your body.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
It hurts.
I definitely agree. But I don't trust the Bears. And I just do not trust the Chicago Bears. It's only
again, Billy.
No,
I'm
Mike,
not doing this with you today.
Because it's only because of Mitchell Trubisky. I just he's played well this year. You know, I gave him props when he deserved it. You know, but
defense wins championships, Billy. Learn
it. Defense and special teams win championships.
It definitely does. But when the name of the game is also to score more points than the other team, and if you can't do that, I don't care how good your defense is. If you're not going to score more points, then it doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Do you remember the Baltimore Ravens back in 2000 and 2001? I think it was.
They were shutting people out though, Mike. They
exactly. But that defense was killer.
They
had Trent Dilfer at quarterback. Mr. Trubisky is 10 times better than Trent Dilfer ever was.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Mitchell Trubisky. I agree with that. Mitchell Trubisky is better than Trent Dilfer. But you know what is not as good as the other? The Bears defense compared to that 2001 Ravens defense. That 2001 no, that 2001 Ravens defense. Listen, when you get y'all just made the point for me. Whenever you guys just said Mitchell Trubisky, we all agreed is 10 times better than Trent Dilfer. So if that's the case, which one is harder to do? Win with a quarterback like Trubisky or win with a quarterback like Trent Dilfer? My point. Case closed. It is tougher. It is tougher to win with Trent Dilfer. Now I agree that Bears defense is stifling though, man. That I cannot hate on what that defense is.
So with that point, that means the Bears defense has more room for error. They can let you score one time. You know,
true.
Maybe score a field goal, but you know that 10 times better quarterback than Trent Dilfer, he can score you a couple scores. Plus that special teams, they can put you in a position to flip the field, to take a punt back to the house. So it is basically two offenses versus one at the end of the day.
I get that.
Think about it,
I get that. I just don't trust the Bears and Mitchell Trubisky. I'm finna make your pops real happy right now. So make sure you tell him to tune in at this point of the show right here when Mike tell or help ease my co-host dad. He's a Colts fan. Tell him why the Colts is going to win this game.
Andrew Luck. The Colts are going to win because that defense is nice.
And you went to see Andrew Luck this year, correct?
I did. As a Cowboys fan, the Cowboys they're my NFC, so like I root for an AFC NFC team. But if push comes to shove,
you're always a Kansas City guy, yeah.
Yeah, I'm always a Kansas City. So I went and saw Andrew Luck in person at it's not the RCA Dome, at Lucas Oil Stadium, and the Colts are a well-oiled machine. They made the Cowboys look silly that game. That defense that they had, that front seven just siphoned anything that they could possibly have, making the Cowboys a one-dimensional team, and their passing game wasn't very good. And I don't think the Houston's passing game is very good either. If they can't run and they have to suck up that like safety to stop the run, then Houston is like good. But that front seven that they have, they can stop the run, making Houston a one-dimensional team. And if it's a pass versus pass game, give me Andrew Luck and the Colts.
I guess if it comes down to the air, I don't know which one I would take, because I like DeAndre Hopkins. I've been said, I think, me and OG, we did a show the other day about top five wide receivers in the league. And let me just ask you this before he gets to his question. And then right after OG, you can go ahead and start. I had OBJ as my top wide receiver, Antonio Brown at number 2, DeAndre at number 3, Julio at number 4, and Michael Thomas at number 5. Who would you replace?
I would replace Antonio Brown.
Why?
Why? Because yes, Antonio Brown has the top yards and the top receptions and the top touchdowns in the last 5 years. But look at his last 2 years. He's been overshadowed by a wide receiver on his own team, Juju Smith. Yes, they are taking away the number 1 wide receiver on the team and giving the number 2 receiver a chance to sign. But I would take Antonio Brown out, slide him down about number 6, maybe.
Oh, Lord,
7.
Mike.
Slide everybody else up and put Tyreek Hill in that.
Of course you would go Tyreek Hill.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, to my point exactly.
I knew it. I knew you was going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. Because he said Tyreek Hill the other day. He said Tyreek Hill the other day, and I just couldn't put Tyreek Hill there.
He is very, very explosive. I mean, he is not a one-dimensional. Like, he is not going to run a fly on you every time. Yes, he will smoke you at 22 miles an hour and catch that bomb, but you can also put him in a slot and he can run a little slant. He can run a reverse. He can run the outs. He can run every route on the tree and be open and still run the ball. And if you wanted to, he could probably kick the PAT too.
I agree that he could probably run every route on the tree. I have no doubts about that. But when we were talking about this the other day, my thing with Tyreek Hill, while I wasn't ready to put him there yet, is because maybe he was a top 5 wide receiver in the league this year. There's no doubt about that. But for me, I think just he hasn't done it long enough. The body of work is not there. Also, he don't play outside enough. You know, he's always in the slot. And for me, if I'm gonna put you as the best of the best, you look at OBJ. He can play inside. He can play outside. Antonio Brown can play inside. Can play outside. DeAndre inside, outside. So on, so on. All these guys. Maybe besides Michael Thomas is probably the only guy that's probably not as comfortable in the slot. But all these guys can kind of do a little bit of everything. Tyreek Hill is a one-trick pony because he's so small. He only plays in the slot because bigger cornerbacks like a Jalen Ramsey can't get their hands on him. So for me,
No. They put him in the slot because it's matchups.
My point, because the matchup won't be the same on the outside because he's a smaller guy. So when you can't play that X receiver, you know, when you can't play that wide receiver, when you're only playing the Z, which is in the slot, I can't say you're the best at it. I just can't. I won't. He would have to do what he's doing in the slot. It's almost like Wes Welker. Wes Welker was doing the same thing, 100 catches every single year, but nobody said he was the best. Why? Because he played in the slot. It's easier to catch balls when you're in the slot when guys can't press you. When you're on that line of scrimmage, that's what a real man play on the line of scrimmage.
If it's easier to catch balls in the slot, why doesn't OBJ move to slot? Well, why doesn't Hopkins move? They all
play both positions though. DeAndre will be in the slot.
So does Tyreek.
90% of his plays are from the slot or in motion. Like that. You know why? Because guys can't put their hands on him. And when you giving a guy like Tyreek Hill and
22 miles an hour.
Who can burn you at 22 miles per hour. How hard is that, Mike, when you're already 3 yards off the line of scrimmage? By the time you get to me, it's already a pass interference or at least a defensive holding because I can't even put my hands on you anymore. How easy is that? So that's why for me, I can't do it.
If it is so easy, why isn't every receiver in the league doing it?
Touche. I just can't do that for Tyreek Hill right now. Give me about 3 more seasons of him doing this, and then we can talk about best in the league.
Oh,
when the Chiefs win 3 of the next 5 Super Bowls, you'll definitely see it.
Mike. Hey, listen, Kansas City got to get over that hump first. Andy Reid needs to prove that he can coach in these big games and not let leads slip away and win the big ones. But I think if any year you guys had a shot to win it, putting up 50 points is definitely a start to being Super Bowl champs when you can outscore mostly anybody.
That is the truth. I got one more question for you, Mike. So, New York Giants, they aren't committed to Eli Manning yet. Do you think he stays with the team, or do you think he goes?
So we've kind of alluded this to like on some other shows here. I'm going to have to go with a stance with Mr. Haddon here. I think he starts out as Giants next year, but he has a short lease. I'm talking like 2-3 games tops because they're either going to draft a quarterback or they're going to get somebody in the free agency. Look for the Giants to make big moves here once the March-April calendar time starts, because I think that's when free agency officially starts. If I'm not mistaken, it's April. So look for them to make a splash, going after maybe a Nick Foles, or just putting them in the position to get a quarterback, either in the draft or free agency. So yes, he does start next year, but only 2-3 games tops.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at the report from the Giants GM, and I'm like, man, they really not going to commit to this guy.
I wouldn't either.
Would you?
I wouldn't either.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, I was like, man, I probably wouldn't either, but I still think he's going to start like 2 or 3 games for him.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at.
And maybe mentor a backup, and hopefully it can be like a like a Tyrod and Baker Mayfield type situation over there.
You don't think so, Mike?
7 wins next year.
I don't think Tyrod Taylor is a starter in the NFL. I think he is like a Matt Flynn or a Matt Castle from back in the day. They're good for 2, 3, 4 games when people don't have film on him. But once you start getting film on him, he becomes a mediocre quarterback.
All right. You got anything?
That's it. That's all I have for Mike today.
Mike, one more thing before you get out of here. It's not even a question. Tell me why the Kansas City Chiefs is going to win before you get out of here. Why will the Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl this year?
Because they're going to beat the Patriots like the little kids that they are. The Patriots, that they are no longer the top dog per se, but when a little kid finally beats the older brother, the confidence it is crazy high. So if the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl, they will be so high on their confidence that nobody will be able to knock them down. Not the 85 Bears, not the 2000 Ravens, not the 2007 Giants or whoever. They're going to be riding so high on confidence. Everything's going to be clicking. They're going to be in a dome, so that offense can just fly high.
Well, you heard it here first. Kansas City Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl. Michael Buccheister, I appreciate you for coming on the show. As always, it's always fun to talk sports with you. As I be on Mornings with Mike, and just for clicks, I appreciate you for taking the time out and chatting up with us today.
Hey, anytime, guys. We'll see you next week.
It's Michael Buccheister of Mornings with Mike, Just for Click podcast. Thank you, Mike.
Yep, go Chiefs.